harrowing tragedy unfolded in New York on April 10th when a tourist helicopter plummeted upside down into New York City's Hudson River, killing all 6 people on board, including Hudson Escobar, CEO of rail infrastructure at Siemens Mobility, his wife, and 3 children, and the pilot. The bizarre drop of the chopper with the rotor blade falling in the river seconds later has left officials and conspiracy theorists scratching their heads. How did the crash happen? Was it the pilot's fault or the company's? Is there an underlying conspiracy behind the tragedy? And what has Israel got to do with this? First, the crash investigation. On April 12th, the U.S. National Transportation Safety Board (NTSB) said that the helicopter, despite being on its 8th tour flight of the day, lacked flight recorders. The NTSB added that no video or camera recorders were recovered from the Bell 206 helicopter either, and none of the equipment on it had recorded information that would help the investigation. Some parts that have been recovered and sent to NTSB laboratories in Washington for inspection include the cockpit cabin, horizontal stabilizer fillets, the vertical fin, and a portion of the tail boom. According to the NTSB, investigators examined 2 similar helicopters as part of the investigation and met with representatives of New York Helicopter Charter, the operator of the crashed chopper, to review operational records, policies and procedures, safety management systems, and the pilot's experience, the agency said. The chief executive of the operator told the UK's Telegraph that the pilot was landing and had indicated that he needed fuel some time before the crash, though he made it clear he did not know exactly why the aircraft came down. Surprisingly, the aircraft had its last major inspection done only a month ago on 1st March, while investigators are still trying to decipher the exact cause of the crash, according to many on social media. The reason for the crash lies in a 2018 contract signed between Siemens and Turkey for 10 high-speed trains. Bizarre, right? Let's explain. Siemens AG, the largest manufacturing company in Europe, signed a contract with a Turkish firm to provide high-speed trains that reportedly included a promise to boycott Israel. The deal between the multinational's Turkish subsidiary Siemens AG and the Turkish state railway TCD triggered outrage in some German media outlets and among German and American Jewish human rights activists. So Divest Rundfunk NWR, a public broadcaster serving the southwest of Germany, first reported on the agreement in early February 2023. The condition for the deal was that Siemens signed a declaration of boycott of Israel. Otherwise, the sale threatened not to go through. This emerges from internal company documents that are available to SW after it reported the agreement between Siemens and Turkey signed in 2018 was valued at $368 million. The deal to provide 10 high-speed trains to Turkey was later expanded to encompass as many as 12. Siemens reportedly submitted a sworn declaration, according to SWAR's review of the internal documents that obligated it to agree to the Boycott Israel clause. The Turkish State Railway applied for a loan from the Saudi Islamic Development Bank, DB, for 8 of the 10 trains, and according to the bank's principles, it requires that the tender clearly state that the goods, works, and/or related services supplied by the contractor and its partners and subcontractors are in strict accordance with the boycott regulations of the Organization for Islamic Cooperation, the League of Arab States, and the African Union. Siemens' signature on the deal is a violation of Section 7 of Germany's export law that bars the signing of such a boycott statement noted. Such a clause, however, has been refuted by the company. Florian Martini, a spokesman for Siemens, told the Jewish news syndicate Jens neither Siemens AG nor Siemens Turkey signed a boycott declaration in 2018 in connection with the tender for high-speed trains in the course of our business activities. Siemens AG strictly complies with all national and international laws and regulations. We have been active in Israel for around 60 years in various business areas and are deeply rooted there. Volker Beck, the head of the German Israel Friendship Association, had said he will file a complaint in order to have the Munich-based Siemens actions legally reviewed, reported SWC. It is not known if such a complaint was filed or if any legal action has been taken against either party. While conspiracy theorists allege the involvement of Israel's spy agency Mossad, it is important to note that Escobar had been global CEO of rail infrastructure at Siemens Mobility only since October 2024, while the deal was signed in 2018. With or without the boycott clause, Escobar's previous roles during a 27-year career with the company included President and CEO of Siemens, Spain, CEO of Siemens Mobility, Southwest Europe region, and CEO and President of Siemens Rail Automation. Meanwhile, his wife, Mercy Ruby Montel, was Global Commercialization Manager at Siemens Energy. The helicopter tour company must stop operations immediately. The Federal Aviation Administration had said on April 14th, after an employee at the company who voluntarily agreed to stop flights was fired. The director of operations for New York Helicopter, Jason Costello, had agreed in a phone call a day earlier to cease flights until the investigation was complete, the FAA added. But minutes later, the company's CEO, Michael Roth, sent an email to the FAA saying Costello didn't have authority to do that, and he was no longer an employee of New York Helicopter. The immediate firing of the director of operations raises serious safety concerns because it appears Mr. Roth retaliated against Mr. Costello for making the safety decision to cease operations during the investigation. Senator Chuck Schumer of New York said, April 13th, "We know there is one thing for sure about New York City's helicopter tour companies. They have a deadly track record, and it is usually the companies, not the pilots, that are openly manipulating FAA rules, cutting corners, and could well be putting profits over people." The tragic death of Escobar and his family is not the only reason why Siemens is under the spotlight. Jessica Alba, who previously served as the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia, was found unresponsive in her home in Alexandria, just outside Washington, D.C. on March 22nd. Her family confirmed that Amber, 43, long struggled with epilepsy and had died in her sleep. Citing a statement from Alexandria police, her family said that detectives found no evidence suggesting that her death was caused by anything other than natural causes, according to a report by NBC News. Abraham earned a reputation as a diligent prosecutor confirmed by the Senate in 2021. She was regarded by her peers as a mentor and sharp legal mind, frequently attending major trials in person. Her resignation came earlier this year. On January 20th, one of IBA's most high-profile legal battles was a corporate espionage case involving Siemens Energy. She led the prosecution in a case where Siemens Energy admitted to unlawfully obtaining confidential data from a rival company, reported the Washington Post. The company ultimately pleaded guilty and agreed to pay a $104 million fine. In a statement from the U.S. Department of Justice at the time, Siemens acknowledged using the stolen information to gain a competitive advantage in the energy sector. This string of events raises more questions than answers. But whether the crash was the result of mechanical failure, human error, or something more sinister, one fact remains: a family lost their lives, and the full story may take time to uncover if it ever is.